The SNP has reacted with fury after Boris Johnson indicated he would support a Scottish independence referendum, but in several decades' time. Mr. Johnson said a referendum on quitting the UK should be a once-in-a-generation event, comparing it to the UK's referendums on the EU. Pointing out the UK had voted on membership in 1975 and 2016, the Prime Minister indicated a similar time frame could be expected for a Scottish independence poll. He said the 41-year gap between European membership was a good sort of gap in an interview with the BBC's Andrew Marr. Mr. Marr asked Mr. Johnson what he would say to Scottish voters who wanted a second independence vote. Mr. Johnson said, "Referendums in my experience, direct experience, in this country are not particularly jolly events. They don't have a notably unifying force in the national mood, they should be only once in a generation." Based on Mr. Johnson's comments, this would be a 41-year gap between the 2014 independence referendum and a potential Indy Ref 2. This indicates a second independence vote would not take place until 2055, a claim which has infuriated Scottish nationalists. SNP Deputy Leader Keith Brown said it was just the same old incoherent bluster from Boris Johnson. The senior MSP told Express.co.uk, "The Prime Minister pretends otherwise, but he knows he can't keep on denying democracy. Even his American pal Donald Trump has learned that if you try to stand in the way of the democratic choice of a nation you get swept away. The people who will decide our future are the people of Scotland, not Boris Johnson and the Westminster Tories." Scottish Greens co-leader Lorna Slater added, "Only the people of Scotland have the right to determine Scotland's future. Whether it's the botched handling of the coronavirus crisis, the Brexit catastrophe or just the heartlessness of Tory governments we haven't voted for, it's clear that the UK isn't working for Scotland." And even former Labour PM Tony Blair said it was extremely difficult to challenge the SNP on independence when the party is virtually uncontested in Scotland. Speaking today, Mr. Blair said, "You've got to look at the ways which we make the case in articulate and sensible ways as to why Scotland is stronger and better off inside the UK. But I come back to the point which is nothing to do with Boris Johnson, it's actually more to do with the Labour Party. How do you make the Labour Party back into a credible opposition in Scotland?